and good night, everyone. I am going to be reading some sonnets written by William Shakespeare. Now, these aren't any of his books, his plays, sorry, but they're poems written by him. And the poems cover things from love, time, death. They're all pretty beautiful to hear. So tonight, as we get ready for bed, we're going to just read a few. Enjoy. I'm going to start with my favorite one, which is Sonnet 121. "'Tis better to be vile than vile esteemed, when not to be receives reproach of being, and the just pleasure lost which is so deemed, not by our feeling, but by others seeing. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? Or on my frailties why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts my deeds must not be shown, unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign." Let's start now with the very first sonnet. "From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the reaper should by time decease, his tender ear might bear his memory. But thou contracted to thine own bright eyes, feedest thy light's flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies. Thyself thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel, though thou art now the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to the gaudy spring. Within thine own bud buryest thy content, and tender churl makest waste inignitin. Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee." Hello, everyone. Again, we're doing sonnets till we sleep. "When 40 winters shall besiege thy brow, and dig deep trenches in thy beauty's field, thy youth's proud livery, so gazed on now, will be a tartared weed of small worth held. Then being asked where all thy beauty lies, where all the treasure of thy lusty days, to say within thine own deep sunken eyes, were all eating shame and thriftless praise. How much more praise deserved thy beauty's use, if thou couldst answered, this fair child of mine shall sum my count and make my old excuse, proving his beauty by succession thine. This were to be new, made thou art old, and see thy blood warm when thou feel while thou feelest it cold." You guys are funny. Let's continue. Again, this is Sonnets While We Sleep. Please Send this to a friend. We're trying to wind down with some Shakespeare. Look into Look in thy glass and tell the face thou viewest. Now is the time that face should form another, whose fresh repair is now thou not knewest. Thou dost beguile the world, unblessed some mother. For where is she so fair whose unneared womb disdains the tillage of thy husbandry? Or who is he so fond will be the tomb of his self-love to stop posterity? Thou art thy mother's glass, and she in thee calls back the lovely April of her prime. So thou through windows of thine age shalt see, despite of wrinkles, this thy golden time. But if thou live, remembered not to be, die single, and thine image dies with thee. This is Sonnet 4. Unthrifty loveliness, why dost thou spend upon thyself thy beauty's legacy? Nature's bequest gives nothing but doth lend, and, being frank, she lends to those are free. Then beauteous, why thou dost abuse the bounteous largesse given thee to give? Profitless usury, why dost thou use so great a sum of sums you canst not live? For having traffic with thyself alone, thou of thyself thy sweet self dost deceive. Then how, when nature calls thee to be gone, when acceptable audit canst thou leave? Thy unused beauty must be tombed with thee, which used lives the executor to be. Sonnet 5. Those hours that with gentle work did frame the lovely gaze where every eye doth dwell, will play thy tyrants to the very same, and that unfair which fairly doth excel. For never testing time leads summer on to hideous winter, and confounds him there. Sap checked with frost, and lusty leaves quite gone, beauty snowed, and bareness everywhere. Then were not summer's distillation left, a liquid prisoner pent in walls of glass? Beauty's effect with beauty were bereft, nor it no remembrance what it was. But flowers distilled, though they with winter meet, less but their show, their substance still lives sweet. Sonnet 6. Then let not winter's ragged hand deface in thee thy summer ere thou be distilled. Make sweet some vial, treasure thou some place with beauty's treasure ere it be self-killed. That use is not forbidden usury, which happies those that pay the willing loan. That's for thyself to breed another thee, or 10 times happier, be it 10 for one. 10 times thyself were happier than thou art, if 10 of thine 10 times refigured thee. Then what could death do if thou shouldest depart, leaving thee leaving in posterity? Be not self willed, for thou art much too fair to be death's conquest and make worms thy heir. Lo, in the Orient, when the gracious light lifts up his burning head, each under eye doth homage to his new appearing sight, serving with hooks his sacred majesty. And having climbed the steep up heavenly hill, resembling strong youth in his middle age, yet moral looks adore his beauty still, attending on his golden pilgrimage. But when from highmost pitch with weary car, like feeble age, he reeleth from the day, these eyes for duteous now coveted are, from his low tract and look another way. So thou thyself outgoing in the noon, unlooked on the dais, unlooked thou get on a sun. Music to air, why hearest thou music sadly? Sweets with sweets war not, joy delights in joy. Why lovest thou that which thou receivest not gladly, or else receivest with pleasure thine annoy? If the true concord of well-tuned sounds by unions married do offend thine ear, they do but sweetly chide thee, who confounds in singleness the parts that thou shouldst bear. Mark how one string, sweeter husband to another, strikes each in each by mutual ordering, resembling sire and child and happy mother, who all in one pleasing note do sing, whose speechless song, being many, seeming one, sings to thee, thou single wilt prove none. Is it fair to wet a widow's eye, that thou consumest thyself in single life? Ah, if thou issueless shalt hap to die, the world will wail thee like the makeless wife. The world will be thy widow, and will still weep, that thou no form of thee hast left behind, when every private window well may keep by children's eyes her husband's shape in mind. Look, what an unthrift in the world doth spend, shifts but his place, for still the world enjoys it. But beauty's waste hath in the world an end, and kept unused, the user so destroys it. No love toward others in that bosom sits, that on himself such murderous shame commits. Sonnet 10. For shame deny that thou bearest love to any, who for thyself art unprovident. Grant, if thou wilt, thou art beloved many, but that thou none lovest is most evident. For thou art so possessed with murderous hate, that against thyself thou strickest not to conspire, seeking that beauteous roof to ruinate, which to repair should by thy chief desire. Oh change that thou, oh change that thy thought, that I might change my mind. Shall hate be fairer lodged than gentle love? Be as thy presence is gracious and kind, or to thyself at least kind-hearted prove. Make thee another self for love of me, that beauty still may live in thine or thee. Sonnet 11. As fast as thou shalt wane, so fast thou growest in one of thine from that which thou departest. And that fresh blood which youngly thou bestowest, thou mayest call that thine thou from youth convertest. Herein lives wisdom, beauty, and increase. Without this folly, age and cold decay. If all were minded so, the times should cease, and the threescore year would make the world away. Let those whom nature had made for store, harsh featureless and rude, barrenly perish. Look, whom she best endowed, she gave the more, which bounteous gift thou shouldest in bounty cherish. She carved thee for her seal, and meant thereby thou shouldest print more, not let the copy die. Sonnet 12. When I do count the clock that tells the time, and see the brave day sunk in hideous night, when I behold the violent past prime, and sable curls, or silvered, are with white, when lofty trees I see barren of leaves, which erst from heat did canopy and herd, and summer's green all girded up in sheaves, borne on the bear with white and bristly beard. Then of thy beauty do I question make, that thou among the wastes of time must go, since sweets and beauties do themselves forsake, and die as fast as they see others grow. And nothing 'gainst time's skith can make defense, save breed to brave him when he takes thee hence. It is very late. Let's continue. Sonnet 13. Oh, that you were yourself, but love you are, no longer yours than you yourself here live. Against this coming end you should prepare, and your sweet semblance to some others give. So should that beauty which you hold in lease find no determination that you were yourself again after yourself's decease, when when your sweet issue your sweet form should bear. Who lets so fair a house fall to decay, which husbandry and honor might uphold? Against the stormy gusts of winter's day, and barren rage of death's eternal cold. Oh, none but unthrifts dare my love, you know. You had a father, let your son say so. Let's do one more. Sonnet 14. Not from the stars do I my judgment pluck, And yet methinks I have astronomy, but not to tell of good or evil luck, of plagues, of death, or season's quality. Nor can I fortune to brief miniatures tell, pointing to each his thunder, rain, and wind, or say with princes if I shall go well, by oft predict that I in heaven find. But from thine eyes my knowledge I derive, and constant stars, in them I read such art, as truth and beauty shall together thrive, in from if from thyself to store wouldst convert, or else of thee this I prognosticate, thy end is truth's and beauty's doom and date. That's Sonnets Till We Sleep. Thank you all for joining. Tomorrow I'll be reading some more. I hope this gave you an opportunity to unwind. Go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. See you tomorrow night. Stream doesn't want to end. I mean, I could keep going.